Hi friends, my name is Erica and I am the Polished Educator. For 23 years, I have been a child care center owner. I own multiple sites and I still love it. So I'm glad you are here. Let's get into the video. So I've had so many questions recently from child care center owners about the paperwork necessary to start your business. And one of the questions is, how do I create my enrollment package? So today, that's what we're talking about, enrollment package. Your enrollment package is going to be specific to you, your business, and the licensing standards in your state. So be sure to consult with your licensing standards when you are creating any files for your daycare center, because you want to make sure that you dot your I's and cross your T's. The worst thing you can do is miss some information that should be included in your enrollment package, because then you'll have to go back and revise. Now, I know that you will be revising this document for as long as you are in business. However, in the initial stages, you want to make sure that you have everything included that is required by your state. That's a pro tip. So friends, we're talking about your enrollment package, and that package is your introduction to your prospective parent on your business and the services you offer. This is your first impression. You want to make sure it's a good one. So we want your enrollment package to be detailed and to offer all of the answers to the questions that a prospective parent may have. It sounds like a big deal, but it doesn't have to be. We're going to take it step by step. So let's dive into what you should include in your enrollment package. You are giving a tour of your center, or you are allowing a parent to come in and to pick up an enrollment package to complete at home. You want to make sure that it's thorough. So one of the first things that I include in my enrollment package is a cover letter. And that cover letter should, if you're really trying to introduce yourself, your staff, and your program to your parents, it should be detailed but not too long, because in your package, you are also going to detail each section and give them a snapshot of what you're doing day to day. So if you want to include a cover letter, now is the time. Present it in the beginning of your paperwork. So you're probably wondering what you should include in your cover letter. So I would suggest that you introduce yourself, you introduce your staff and some of the qualifications that they have that make them special in your environment, and you want to talk about your mission, vision, and philosophy for your center. This gives them a good idea of who you are, what your expectations are, and what they will get when they enroll their children in your care.
So let's go over that again. You want to make sure you include a little something about you, about your staff, about your mission, your vision, and the expectations that you have for the children enrolled in your center.
Now for what you've been waiting for, which is the enrollment application. This is the meat of your enrollment package. So this is where you're going to include your enrollment forms, your consent forms, your medication authorization, and other things as we go on. We will get into them, and you will be able to put them step by step by step, page by page by page in your enrollment package, and eventually at the end of this, you'll have a nice stack where you can begin to enroll your children. And if you are a child care provider already and you're here to get information and you want to revise, this is a great way for you to think about some of the things that you may not have included. And as your business goes on, you will see that there are some things that you've missed and there are some things that you want to update. So never think that this document is done. It is a work in progress. I have been in business for 23 years, and I am consistently adding or taking away information in these documents, because with the times changing, your policies will change, and also even with your licensing standards, you will be required to add or take away some things that were relevant in the past and are no longer a part of your program. So don't be afraid to revise, and always make sure that you give your parents an updated copy and have them sign to show that they are indeed understanding what it is you're presenting, and they are aware of what it is, and that they had the information. That initial signature and date are very important for your program, because those are proof that you have given proper information in proper timing to the right person right family. So nobody can say, I didn't know and I didn't get it. These are pro tips that you can use when you are either revising or starting your enrollment paperwork. So friends, next up in the enrollment package are your enrollment forms. And so let me take a second and look and make sure I'm telling you everything that I have in mind. We are going to make sure that we have our registration page, which gives all of the children's information as far as their address, parents' first and last name, or guardian's first and last name, as well as authorized persons for pickup in case of an emergency, and other information that you may want to put on your front page. So after we have included all of that contact information and the other information that we need as part of the child care registration part, we will also be including our medication authorization forms, contact information form. You may have some contact information on that first page, but now we're going to get into creating more detailed pages for additional information so that you know who's picking the child up. If it's not that parent who you see all the time, it might be grandma, grandpa, friend, family, friend, or relative other than those people you're used to. So we'll get into that in another video on how to continuously update that form, because it can change often depending on that family and their situation. So that's another video for another day, and we can really get into that one. It'll be interesting. All right, so let's keep going. We have to also include our allergy forms and any special needs considerations, because you will have them. You may not have them initially, but as time goes on, you'll have a little bit of everything. Trust me. Okay, so in my state, we have a lot of different forms that you may or may not have in your state. That's why I always want you to refer to your licensing standards for your specific state so that you know that you are properly addressing each one of those points that they have in your standards to make sure that you're covering everything for your child care business. Because state to state, a lot of us have the same rules and regulations, but there are some things that are included or discarded state by state. So you may have what I have and you may not. So just be clear. Make sure you always refer to your standards. It will give you everything you need. All right, friends, so let me check, make sure I'm giving you all the right information. You want to make sure that you have those consent forms. So for us in my state, we have to get our parents to sign saying we can use baby wipes, ointments, certain diapers if we're providing them, and a lot of other things. So you want to make sure that you are placing in your forms consents for the things that you will be offering that your parents need to sign for. Make sure that you have them initial each section, because that again will guarantee that they are aware of what it is that you have said, and the expectation is that they know it because they initialed it and dated it. That's another pro tip. Make sure that you always make them responsible for the information you are providing. Next, medication authorization forms. And in different states, there are different things that are required or accepted. I don't know where you are, but make sure you have that. Also, you want to include your daily schedule. This is something that parents will ask about whether you put it in there or not. They want to know what their children will be doing at a certain time every day. So this is a very important piece of information. It might seem small, but it's a big deal to parents. So make sure you include it, because they will be thinking about their little one when they're at home, and they'll say, oh, it's 11 o'clock. I know little Johnny is getting ready to do X, Y, and Z. Oh, I know it's 2:30. It's almost time for nap time to be over. So this is a very important piece of information that you want to make sure you give to your parents. And when it changes, you want to revise it and give them a copy. It's really more important than you think. Okay, so we talked about supplies. Now, in your supplies, one thing that can bring up levels of confusion are the diapers and wipes when you're dealing with your little ones. Make sure your parents are aware of what they need to bring and how many they need to bring, and how you monitor those supplies in the classroom. Because of course, when you ask parents too often for supplies, they feel like you are using their child's supplies on another one. So keep detailed logs on your diaper changing and your and the use of wipes. That's something that's really important in your infant and toddler classrooms, because there will always be confusion about that. And if you supply diapers and wipes, make sure that your parents are aware of the brands you use, as well as how often you'll be changing, because some centers buy what's on sale and some centers stay brand specific. So that's really up to you. And I don't know if I have a preference on that or not. Buying the supplies works really well for some centers, and buying the supplies does not work for some centers. It just, again, it depends on you and your center and your clientele. But that's something to think about, is purchasing your own supplies and going from there. Okay, so also in your enrollment package, you want to have a sheet that tells the parents what supplies are necessary for the first day at your center. Okay, so now we're talking about something that's really important, and this creates so much confusion between parents and child care providers. Whether you're a home or a center, this is equally important, and it is your late fee policy. You want to make sure that this is such a detailed document. You want to make sure that your parents understand that at such and such a time they will be penalized for not picking up their child by either no return, which means that that child will not be able to come the next day, or by a fee. And most centers do have a fee. They allow the children to come so long as the fee is paid. But there are different ways to do this. Some parents allow you to bring the child the next day. Even if you do not have the fee, you pay the fee by a certain date. Some centers say absolutely no way. In order for that kid to have entrance the next day, he or she needs to pay that late fee to enter the center. And then there are some centers that say, you know what, you're a chronic late person, therefore you cannot return. So you must be very clear on how this works for your center. I do have a late fee policy that is very detailed. Over 23 years, I've experienced a lot of things when it comes to lateness, and I have tried to include those things in my policy. If you are interested, I do have it online. Actually, I think I took it down. I'll put it back. I have it on my website, and it's available for purchase, but that's up to you, because we'll talk more about it in another video. All right, friends, so in my enrollment package, I also like to include a copy of our menu. It may be the current one, it may not be, but it gives them an idea on what we're cooking, what times of the day, and what we're serving to the children. And it also reminds parents to look and see what it is that we're serving. If their child has allergies, they will remember, oh, I need to tell the center about my child's allergies. And even though the form is in there, sometimes they forget, or you'll have parents who will present to your center with their enrollment package and it won't even be completed. So make sure that you also, when they come back with it, if you didn't sit with them to go through it page by page, make sure when they return that they have everything completed, dated, signed, and initialed in the areas that you have designated for their initials. This is something that will prevent confusion in the future. Childcare business. Now, this is different depending on the age group. So your infants may require one supply list, your toddlers may need another supply list, and your preschoolers may need another supply list, and then your before and after schoolers may or may not need a supply list at all. But I do encourage you to always have all of your children come with at least 2 changes of clothing, and that will change throughout the year. You have them take it home and switch it out for the seasons changing. So make sure you have a supply list that's detailed, and the parents know that for the first day, the child needs to come with what it is you say they need to come with. Some centers will require that they have everything on the list, and some centers may give 30 days, 14 days, 10 days, a week. It really depends on you, and that's why an enrollment package is so specific to each center. There are things that we all must have, but we have them in the way that we want them. So make sure that you don't just copy and paste somebody else's book, that you just really read through it and make sure that it's what you want for your business, because we're all different. That's what makes our businesses unique. Also, in our enrollment package, we include our behavioral policy. This is a big deal. Your behavioral policy is a go-to form when you have children who do not fit your environment anywhere else. But I encourage you, once again, to be specific. You want to be detailed, and your details should align with your center, your mission, your philosophy, your goals, your students, your staff, your environment. So it's really hard to take someone else's information and plug it into yours. If you are using somebody else's enrollment paperwork or parent handbook, make sure that you are not just cutting and pasting it, but you are creating a document that is for you and your business, because if you don't, it's not going to work. It might work initially, but over time it won't be relevant to you and your program. So that's something to really think about. Take the time and do it yourself, because you will find that over time it'll be priceless. And so fast forward to another day, it got busy in here. It was nap time to put everybody down, so it got noisy. But here I am, as promised, going through a list of things that you may need in your enrollment package for your center or your home daycare. Either way it goes, both types of businesses need this information. So let's get into the list. You're going to need your cover letter, enrollment application, your parent handbook, your emergency contact forms, your child health examination, otherwise known as your physical, permission forms, your medication authorization form, your enrollment agreement. Remember, we talked about that. It's going to need those signatures, your meal and snack menus, your daily schedule, any of the child care licensing information or accreditation information that you would like to include. And you don't have to include that if you don't want to. Your payment information, including your late fee policy. You might want to include a parent questionnaire in case you want to get to know them better. You might want to include emergency procedures, so you let them know what happens in case of an emergency, so they'll know where it is that you will evacuate. Contact information, your calendar of important dates and important events at your center, all of your receipts and acknowledgments, so have everything that they're signing all together. And if you want to include this, I think it would be really nice, testimonials and references. So that's a list that's for you to think about and to include in your enrollment package. And again, I'm the Polished Educator. My name is Erica, and I'm here to help. And I hope that this video has given you a jump start to including all of this information in your enrollment package.